with the classification from vertical and horizontal lines. So this C is a character, HS is a high self-esteem, and LS is a low self-esteem. And the last is culture term. This culture term built from conclusion based on finding, theory, and practice study. The term of this study will use self-esteem by Maurice Rosenberg in a film brain animal. Well, that's enough presentation of me. If you guys have a question, you can ask for this session. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That was the presentation by Miss Lutfiah Okta Silviana. And now we're going to next presentation. Let's invite Miss Siska Ayudias Sekar ini to present his proposal entitled Intertextuality of Dystopian Society in the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner trilogies. Time is yours.
Recording in progress.
Today, I will present about my three proposal thesis. The textology of Soviet society and how it is divergent in the East. Before I will present about my thesis, I will introduce myself. I'm Studi. I'm from Decoding 6. Return of the study. All these communication media that is used by everyone from kids and people. The Fakultas have been around since 1888 until now doesn't develop our person every year to test and develop. Along with the development of the science, filmmaker begins to make films with various things and one concept developed by many filmmakers today is dystopian concept. Dystopian is coined by Surakarta in 1896, and it means judgment. So judgment means discovering which speaking the wrath of God, criticizing the unsupernatural. This is the opposite of the term utopia, which is taken from certain more. Although utopia is an imaginary place where everything is fun. Well, dystopia is imaginary place that everything is good. So the formula of the problem of this research is R number one. What dystopian society are from intertextuality of dystopian society in Fakultas, Preposition, and Constructiologies. And then second is how do intertextuality of dystopian society in other games like Preposition and Constructiologies interpret dystopian society. These two questions are the things that will be solved by the terms of two questions in the formula of the problem are in this part objective of the study. For the first question, the aim is to reveal social character found from intertextuality of the study in other case, divergent in the methodology. For second is to find out ways in the textuality of social study in other case, divergent in the methodology stages.
Online juga.
Online.
Kamu presentasi di depan laptop.
Sebenarnya kamar sini.
Punya slide kayak gitu.
Nggak ada tadi.
Soalnya nggak kelihatan kan?
Nggak ada.
Nggak ada.
Jadi dari tadi nggak di share screen.
Iya. Yang hijau tadi loh Pak, yang saya screen yang hijau tadi, yang tadi. Gimana? Bisa dong? Masih dua. Dah. Coba posisinya.
I will continue my presentation. So, objective of the study. The aim of research of two questions in formula of the problem or in this part in objective of the study. So the aims for question number 1 is to reveal social character found from intertextuality of dystopian society in the Hunger Games, Diversion, and the Maze Runner trilogies. And then for second questions, the aims is to find out ways intertextuality of dystopian society in the Hunger Games, Diversion, and the Maze Runner trilogies dystopian societies. Next. To answering the formula of the problems and to achieve the objective of the study, the researcher used two theories. For the first question, the researcher used dystopian control by Terry Chang. But I'm sorry, for the year is incorrectly written. supposed to be 2006, not 2016. So the dystopian control are number one, corporate control. Corporate control is when the society controlled by one or more corporate through the product, the media, and advertisement. And then second, bureaucratic control. Bureaucratic control is when the society is controlled by mindless bureaucracy and incompetent government. And then technological control. Technological control is when the society is controlled by technology through a robot, computers, and scientific means. And then totalitarian control. Totalitarian control is when the society is lose their freedom and unable to develop autonomous thought because the omniscient power controls them. And then philosophical or religion control. Philosophical or religion control is when the society controlled by philosophical or religious ideology through a dictatorship or theocratic government. Next. And then for second questions, the researcher used form of government by Plato. This theory is present in his book entitled The Republic in 375 before century. There are, number one, aristocracy. Aristocracy is the rule of English. And then second is tyranny. This is regime where society without discipline. And then third, oligarchy. This is system of government that is composed of two classes, rich and poor people, where rich govern the poor. And then democracy. The governor of this regime follow power instead of by using the this is regime where society. Last is democracy. Democracy that is ruled by pure liberty and the last. As already said in the title, this research used three objects: the Hunger Games trilogy, Prevailing trilogy, and the Maze Runner trilogy. The Hunger Games trilogy is based on Susan Collins' novel entitled The Hunger Games. It shows that a panem or a country that have 12 districts. The government of the panem always hold a tradition called the Hunger Games every year, and each panem and each district have to send their 2 participants. The Hunger Games itself is the brutal game where all the participants have to kill each other, and then the one who survives until the end will be the winner. And then Divergent. Divergent is based on Veronica Roth's novel called Divergent. It said that people's social life, the government of the not faction. There are 5 factions in Divergent. Number 1, abnegation or selfless. Number 2, erudite or intellectual. Number 3, dauntless or brave. Number 4, candor or honest. And number 5 is amity or peaceful. Belum selesai. And then the last object, Maze Runner. The Maze Runner is based on James Kessner novel entitled The Maze Runner 2. It is told that every month one teenager arrives into a giant maze, and within a few years, those giant maze has collected several children, and they survive there. The purpose of collecting the children is for researching purpose. These are the stages that researchers take when making research. Number one, the researcher watched the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner trilogies. Second, researcher choose the focus to be discussed in this research. Number three, researcher make research title. Number four, researcher compare the dystopian world in the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner trilogies and observe them. Number five, the researcher determines which theory are appropriate for the study and can fill in the paper. And last, the researcher collect data and then sort the data using the theories. In data analysis, I am a researcher using the theory. Here are the four steps. Number one, domain analysis. Domain is the researcher attempts to get a broad overview of the data in order to answer the research question. The researcher has faced this task by watching the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner trilogies, and then collecting the data in the form of image taken through the screenshot process. And second, taxonomy. Taxonomic analysis is a step to classify the data. The researcher classifies types of dystopian society control and dystopian society government reform in the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner. Third, component analysis. Component is a step to find a contrast element in the acquired domain. And last, cultural theme analysis. The cultural theme is the final step in drawing an implicit conclusion based on the dominating data discovered while researching the text quality of dystopian society in the Hunger Games, Divergent, and Maze Runner trilogy. This is data example. As you can see, there are number, data, time, encoding. I will explain one by one. One is because this is data number one. And data, you can see those like picture. And then that is the description of the data. And the time, encoding. 1/Hunger Games /TY/TC /time. One is because the number one, Hunger Games it means the object, and TY is tyranny, and TOC it means totalitarian control, and that means the time. And this is component level. For column number one, there is for dystopian control. C means corporate control. BC means corporate control. TC means technological control. TOC means totalitarian control. And PRC it means philosophical or coalition control. And then for second column, ATIOTY. A is for aristocracy, TI is for democracy, O is for oligarchy, D is for democracy, and TY is for tyranny. And then for the left side, it's for objects. I have three objects. The Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner. And between the cultural themes and the Maze Runner, there is for the amount of the data. And the last part is for cultural. That's all my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for your attention.
Masuk, berarti ini ada suaranya nanti kalau dari luar presentasi di sini. Tahu nggak? Kan sekarang giliran yang dari luar. Ya ini bisa. Nggak paham guys.
Okay, that was a presentation by Ms. Siska Idyaskarini. And now we are going to the next presentation. Let's invite Ms. Masnua from Universitas Srinujoyo Madura to present her proposal entitled An Analysis of Hegemony in Day Both Day at the End by Adam Silvera with 10 minutes maximum. For Ms. Masnua, time is yours.
Oh, but the PowerPoint. Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Could you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah, this is clear.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. My name is Mas Noah from University of Trunojoyo Madura, and here I would like to present my thesis proposal entitled An Analysis of Hegemony in the Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Next, please. Chapter 1 Introduction. Next. Background of the study. Zamzami claimed that power exists when people want to achieve a particular goal. Thus, power can create hostility because not all people have the same goals in their life. Priyatni stated that power is a particular individual or group with unequal power based on social class, physical, mental aspects, and level of fame. Based on this statement, many factors cause the inequality of power in society. Hegemony is theory stated by Antonio Gramsci, where one group is more powerful than another. Hegemony is closely related to those who have power to take control over others who are powerless. Hegemony is theory stated by Antonio Gramsci, can also be used as the main theory to analyze literary works.
Maaf Kak,
Yes.
menyela. Ini ada sedikit kendala, jadi dijeda sebentar ya Kak ya.
Iya.
Tes tes. For Miss Nasrina, now we can continue our presentation.
Okay, thank you. So hegemony also can be used as main theory to analyze literary works. One of them is novel. The novel that will be used in this study is entitled They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Adam Silvera is an American author that known for writing young adult fiction novels. He wrote novels such as More Happy Than Not, His Story Is All You Left Me, They Both Die at the End, and What If It Is Us with Becky Arbeltali. This novel tells about a company called Deadcast who run a system to tell people and give them a warning that they will die in 24 hours. The people that receive the warning from that case is called Decker. And the people who work at that case company as operator and call Deckers named Herald. The existence of that case company can create hegemony in this novel. Next, please. There are three research questions in this study. First, how are the dominant and the subordinate group divided in the novel? Second, how are the three levels of hegemony explained in the novel? And the third is, what are the impacts of the dominant group's hegemony toward the subordinate group? Next, please. Based on the research question above, there are three objectives of the study. First, to reveal the division of the dominant and the subordinate group, to explain the three levels of hegemony, and to determine the impacts of the dominant group's hegemony toward the subordinate group. Next. Significance of the study. Theoretically, the study tried to enrich the theoretical basis of Antonio Gramsci's hegemony theory in the novel. Practically, the study is supposed to be useful for other researchers that doing similar research. It can be same theory, hegemony, but different sort of data and vice versa. Next, please. Scope and limitation of the study. The study is limited to the discussion of hegemony theory, such as the dominant and the subordinate group, the three levels of hegemony, and the impact of hegemony ruled by the dominant group. The limitation of the study is the characters' utterances and the author's narration in the novel. Next, please. Chapter 2, Review of Related Literature. What is hegemony? Hegemony is the ability of the dominant group to maintain power and their dominance over others, and is closely related to power and domination. Next, please. There are two types of the dominant group. First, political society. The hegemony obtained by those group of people that comes from political aspect, such as government. And the civil society is the hegemony that obtained by a group of people that not a part of political aspect. They run a system and as an organization or a company. The subordinate group. Ramananda in her thesis stated that subordinate group is a group of people that have lower position than dominant group in society. There are three levels of hegemony stated by Joseph Hemia. First, integral hegemony. This hegemony occurs when the dominant group succeeded in satisfying the needs of the subordinate group. Decadent hegemony occurs when the dominant group is maintaining the ancient style or old style of hegemony, so the subordinate group questioning the existence of the subordinate group, questioning the existence of the dominant group. And minimum hegemony occurs when the dominant group no longer can maintaining their hegemony, so they invite other group of people to cooperate with them. Next, please. There are three previous studies. First, the portrayal of hegemony as seen on Snowpiercer by Lasyana and Wadawati. Second, analyzing hegemony, faction system in Veronica Roth's Divergent by Elmira Primananda. The third is hegemony among characters in Bekisar Merah novel by Ahmad Tohari, written by Rangga Agnibaya, Suyitno, and Herman J. Waluyo. Next, please. Chapter 3, Research Method. Research type. This study used qualitative research method. The method of this study is chosen because it is in line with the characteristic of qualitative research. First, the study is done in natural setting. Creswell stated that a natural setting is used when the writers collect the data in the field without the help of other writers and read the data thoroughly by themselves. Second, the writer is the key instrument of the study. Next, please. Data and source of data. There are two types of data in this study. First, primary data, the novel itself, entitled They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and secondary data, book, journal articles, thesis, and any other document that can be accessed from library or internet. Next, please. Research instrument. The key instrument of the study is the writer herself. Next, please. Data collection technique. First, the novel entitled They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera is read repeatedly to understand better. Second, collect and categorize the data based on the issue. In this study, the issues are intended to discover the division of the dominant and the subordinate group, explain the three levels of hegemony, and to find out the impact of hegemony in the novel. The third step is the data that have been categorized are marked to answer the research questions. Next, please. Technique of analyzing data. Actually, there are three steps of analyzing data. First is data reduction. Second is data display, and the third is drawing conclusion. Data reduction activities are carried out by rechecking the data that have been collected, classifying the data based on problems, and sorting out which data that is not needed. Second step is data display. This step is to answer the research question by explaining more about hegemony theory and reconnect it with the data that have been collected. The last step is concluding. The conclusion should not repeat what has been stated in the discussion, but is still in sync with the discussion of the study. That's all from me. I apologize if there is any mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That was the presentation by Miss Masuma. Now we are going to the next presentation. Let's invite Miss Deno Kuburni to present her proposal entitled Decoding Islamophobic Minority in the Discourse with 10 minutes maximum. For Miss Deno, time is yours.
Thank you. So should I wait for the share screen or I share screen by myself? Hello?
Oh, wait, Miss.
Alright, before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jenna Pubarini and I'm from UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. So in this occasion, I would like to present my presentation paper about decoding Islamophobic minority in the disguise 2019, a reader response analysis. All right, without any further ado, let's start from the background. Next, please. All right, The Disguise is a short movie that represents minority discrimination or Islamophobia in Europe. In this movie, there are two different kind of main character. The first one is Rabia, and the second one is Lina. Rabia is a woman from Lebanon, which is really show her identical persona as a niqabi girl, and she also wear hijab with all the black clothes that she have. And on the other hand, there's also another woman who have the same background as Rabia. Her name is Lina, and she's a local Londoner. But the difference is she have appears as a Londoners, like most of Westerners there, even though she have a root as a Muslim from her ancestral family from the Slovakia. And one day there is a minority discrimination that happens to this Niqabi girl, Rabia, and actually this problem of minority discrimination, hate group prejudice is the main conflict in this movie that will create the different perspective from the Rabia and Lina. In the end of the movie, Rabia decided to take off her hijab and her niqab in order to feel accepted and to feel loved by the society, even though she have to lose herself and her identity. And in another hand, for Lina, she decided to wear hijab and show the world about her identity that she lost before, because she wants to know who's her real friend is if she were wearing all of those things like what makes her as a Muslim. Next, please. All right, minority and majority gap about religionism and uh, culturalism lives in our lives actually created a problem. As we can see in Europe, they have European human rights, which is guarantee every citizen about their freedom to choose whatever the religion that they want to choose. But it cannot clear the fact that in Europe, there are so many kind of Muslim or certain kind of a minority who feel discriminated and being treated poorly. And as we can see also in Indonesia, as a big majority country of Muslims, we can spot some people who claim themselves as a religious, but they treat other people or a minority in a different way by acting judgmental towards them. And they also do the ridiculous things such as burning the church, etc., which is the opposite from the Quran. In Quran itself, in Surah Al-Kafir number 4, it says that lakum dinukum waliyadin, which means for you your religion and for me my religion. So this is the problem in the background. Next, please. So that's why the researcher think that the reader's perception is important to understand the deeper point of view, especially to get to know about why and how come this issue happened mainly in those countries. Reader reception will really help in order to gain the deeper level of understanding and another point of view. Next. Next, please. Thank you. And then by the problem before that I've already explained, it comes research questions, and the researchers break down in two different kind of research question. The first one is what are the readers' perception about Islamophobic minority in the disguise, and the second one is how the readers decode the meaning or the message of the disguise. Next. Okay. All right. In literature review, the researcher find three different kind of uh, literature. The first one is about minority and majority discrimination. When and why? 2001 by Geoffrey L. Leonardelli and Marlene B. Brewer. In this type of journal, they have the same topic with this research, which is talk about minority and majority discrimination. But in this journal, they use different kind of theory, and it's not based on literature, which is it's more focused on social psychology. And the next one is Prevailing American Democracy within African American Literature of Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb, using Stuart Hall's audience reception analysis. In this research, which is we called it as a journal, it has the same theory by using Stuart Hall's audience reception analysis, but it's more focused on the reception or perception of the American citizen towards the literature of Amanda Gorman's poem, which is also related with American democracy. And last but not least, Black or Blackish Decoding Blackish and its place in the conversation of diversity by Vickers and Jasmine. In this thesis, the researcher more focused on minority also, the same like this research, but they're more focused on different kind of minority, which is focused on race or the skin classification. And also, what's interesting is it has the same theory, which is using the decoding and encoding. Next, please. So we're going to talk about theoretical approach. In this research, researchers using encoding and decoding theory by Stuart Hall. Encoding is a process of creating a message from the producer, which would be sent by the encoder, such as producer or the advertisement, and all of the aspects to support the production team. And decoding is the process of receiving the message from the encoder, which will be received by the decoder, such as the reader, the audience, and the viewers. And the third one, this is most important, is about meaning structure. Meaning is constructed by discourse, which is have to be in the same alignment with the theme of the encoder or also the theme of decoder. And the last one is interpretation. In this interpretation, Stuart Hall explained there are three kinds of different readers. The first one is the dominant readers who completely agree with the message of the encoder. And the second one is the negotiation reader, which is can tolerate the message of the encoder, but they do not completely agree. But there's some part that they can accept. And the last one is the opposition reader, which is completely disagree about the sender of message or the encoder. Next. Next, please. All right. So this is how the theory works. In order to create the perfect discourse of a meaning, the encoder and the decoder have to put more focus on the framework of knowledge, relation of production, and technical infrastructure, which is these three aspects have to be in the same alignment in order to create the message that can be delivered in the right way as the encoder expected before. Next. All right, so we move to method of research. Type of research in this research is qualitative method, obviously to collect and analyze the data from this movie, also from the reception of by the answer of these readers about how they read the movie and how they perceive that. And in this data research, we have a primary research, which is the Disguise 2019, the movie, and their interview. And we have also supporting source such as books, journals, and theses, or even internet to support the theoretical approach, literature review, and other parts. Next. All right, well, we come to the last slide. In this paper organization, in the first chapter, we use introduction, research question, objective of study, significance of study, literature review, theoretical approach, and method of research. And the second chapter, we have the encoding of the disguise. And the third chapter, we have the discussion of the analysis. And the last one, we have our conclusion. Thank you. Advice and questions are very welcome.
That was the presentation by Miss Borini. Thank you for the interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Q&A, and I'd like to invite audiences to give questions to the presenter. Please raise your hand and mention your name and to whom your question is asked, and please explain your question briefly and if there are no question, thank you for the responses of all the presenters. I know that maybe there are still maybe questions from our enthusiastic audience, but we are sorry that we have to close the session. I will give the mic. I will give the mic back to Miss Agnes.
Tes tes.
Kamu satu rumah.
Tes tes. Halo, tes tes.